All right. So we live. Get a few seconds here. Let it post. We'll call this one. I don't know. All right. Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless to you all. I've been absent here for a while. And, thinking of what to do on Friday afternoons to make it easier on myself and easier on you all also. Give you something steady. I teach all the time. Sometimes I don't have time to put classes together with captivity. So you know what we're going to do? We are going to make this Friday afternoons. We're going to call it History in the Afternoon with Captain Zakar. I know we got History in the AM with Officer Yediah in Ohio, but most of us on the plantation at that time. I'm on my way to the plantation at that time before. So we're going to do it in the afternoons. We'll see how this goes. Just read. I know Israel don't do too much of just power reading, and that is a major problem with our nation. I was talking to a few officers a while back that when I was coming in, we didn't have as many videos as it is now. Wasn't as many camps and wasn't as many schools. It came on once a week, and a video came out every other week, maybe every 2 weeks, something like that, you know. But now it's more relevant. The Lord is filling the earth with his word, and Israel now coming in is dependent upon videos. A lot less reading and more videos, but when I was in, it was more reading and less videos. And videos are a blessing, definitely a blessing to spread the truth to the four corners of the earth. But I see it also too as a hindrance to those that become dependent upon it, because once the video's over, you may have questions that you need answered or don't quite understand, and a lot of that stuff get filled in with you just reading, and we have a problem with that as Israel. So we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to start at Genesis. We'll read a few chapters, maybe about an hour every day of history, see how it goes. All right, so we start in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1. I'll explain what I know, what I've learned from my teachers that I sat with in Orlando for years, what he told me, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Okay, so chapter 1, Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. All right, so it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. All right, verse 1, in the beginning, that is the blueprint. This is the thoughts of the Most High that he's giving you, because it wasn't actually created. So that's the blueprint, the thought of it. All right. And then after this comes the fulfillment of that. So it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, which we know of as space. Right. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, Deacon brought this out a while back. I don't know how many people was paying attention, but yes, there is water in space. Oh, yeah, look at my Cozumel cup. Shout out to Issachar. Oh yeah, Jeremiah, I saw you on here. Shout out to Issachar, man. Lord's will, we can speed up the 11th hour. Can't go home without you. And wherever Judah is, I don't know if y'all notice this, wherever Judah is Issachar be right there with us. At least that's how it was from where I'm from in Kentucky. Wherever you found Judah, Issachar was roaming right there with us, man. They ain't mess with us. They ain't mess with us. But they was always in the hood with us. That's spiritual. Read the book of Numbers when we first came out of Egypt. That's spiritual. That's why Issachar be rolling around us. All right. So it is water in space, right? Let's now you can will understand. Let's go to Second Esdras, and we can like tie this together about the waters, right? Second Esdras chapter 13, and we'll start at 1. The point is in verse 5, but we're talking about the waters that we read in Genesis 1. Second Esdras 13 and 1, and it says, "And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven." Man, we'll be precepting all day, reading history in the afternoon. So that thousands of heaven. Let's hold our finger right here. Let's go to the book of Jude. The book of Jude, right before Revelation, right? And let's read verse 14. Let's see what what Esdras is talking about when it says he waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. So in precept, if you can, if you're sitting down and you're watching this, precept as I go. All right, let me give you what I got in my Bible. Jude verse 14, it says, "And Enoch also the seventh from Adam prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints." Okay, that's verse 14. The Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints. So let's go back to Second Esdras here in verse 2. Verse 3, it says, "And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven." Right? Thousands. It's an innumerable amount when you read Revelation. "And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him." Right? And now this is letting you know where it's coming from. Now remember in verse 1, it said it moved all the waves thereof. Now in verse 3, it says it trembled that were seen under him. Right? When you think of waters, you automatically, you look down thinking the ocean or something below you. But it says the waves thereof moved in verse 1. Verse 3, it says everything trembled beneath him. So that lets you know that he came from up. He came from above because he's looking down. Right? And it'll get more clear as we go down here. Verse 4, "And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice." Why is that? What's the precept for that? Hold your finger here. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 5 and verse 14, right? Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 14, it says, "Wherefore thus saith the Lord God of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire. I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them." All right? So the word of God is fire when it has the ultimate spiritual power that it is supposed to have. It's so powerful that what we read in the book of Genesis was made with just words. That's how powerful the word is. So, and we've got power with it now, but it's to a low level. When that time comes, we'll have power like Christ, just with words. So verse 4 says, "And whensoever the voice," back in Second Esdras 13, verse 4, "And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned, because the word of God is like fire, that heard his voice, like as the earth filleth when it filleth the fire." Here's the point, verse 5. "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Now we all understand, because second Esdras is talking about the second coming of Christ. Christ is not coming out of the waters. He is coming from above, right? So this helps us understand Genesis chapter 1, where, let's go back to Genesis chapter 1, where in verse 2, Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, space, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That is, whatever you want to call it, the universe, the solar system, whatever you want to be, but that is where is what we call space, deep space. And it's backed up by the precept in second Esdras 13, verse 5, that there is water in space. And that's what is water that's amazing. It's invisible water. That's the next level. It's invisible water, which is actually, I mean, you think about it, condensation. Rain comes down, sun comes out, dries the water back up, it goes in back up into the sky to form clouds once again. So it's invisible water all around us all the time. We just don't see it, right? So we back in Genesis chapter 1. That was verse 2. Now we're in verse 3. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day. Now remember, the sun and the moon's not made yet, right now. So this is the Most High illuminating things with a light that we can't even see. All right. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, and that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. All right. So darkness came first, then came the light. Right. Well, you're right, Jared. You're right. Exactly. Guardians of the Galaxy. Verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Darkness comes first, the 12 hours, and you got the light, which is another 12 hours. Then it goes back to the beginning of that day, of another day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. That's how it's confirming even more about water and space. Let it divide the waters from the waters. That's what we know as the ozone layer, right? And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, right? So he's dividing those things. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Now remember, going into this also, the dividing, right? Divided this water from that water, right? Let's go to Corinthians to show you the different levels of all why this the Most High is dividing these things. Okay, 2 Corinthians, and let's read chapter 12, 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and we're going to start at verse 1. 2 Corinthians 12 and 1, it says, it is not expedient for me doubtless to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Christ above 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. So he's God knoweth. So he's in a vision that is so strong on him, he don't know whether it's like flesh and real, like it's happening right now, or if he's seeing a vision in his mind that the Most High or Christ is giving him. He can't tell the difference, right? It says, I cannot tell, God knoweth, such an one caught up to the third heaven. That's when we read in Genesis about the dividing of waters, right? So it's the Most High is in the holiest of holies that we read about it, like in Hebrews, that Christ has went to, that no man has been, only the Son. We got the third heavens, the third heaven. Then you've got, well, we know it's heaven, which is space and clouds and all of that stuff mixed in. And then you've got the heaven down here, which is rulership, the different heavens. So Paul's letting you know that it's different levels of heaven. It's the third heaven. He was called up to the third heaven. And verse 3, and I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. God knoweth how that he was caught up into paradise. He called that place where he went, it was paradise. And heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to utter. Let me see what I got here too. I got something precepted. I want to see what it says real quick. Job 22 and okay, here we go. Job 22 and 12. It's talking about this is where the Most High dwells. While we got division, the waters below the heaven, right, and the waters above the heaven. He separated it with a firmament. We're going Job 22 and 12. Job 22 and 12. Job 22 verse 12. It says here, is not God in the height of heaven? And behold, the height of the stars, how high they are. Let's go in the Most High. He's can go there. You'd notice that Esau, when it comes to his science and his rockets and whatever you would, it's one thing. He got some kind of rocket. He sent back out in the 60s or 70s. He sent a rocket out into space to go out into interstellar space, deep space. And they said it's, you can Google it, look it up. It's still going. It's been going for 30, 40 years. It's traveling at 20-something thousand miles. I guess it's going faster than the speed of light. And they still got a tracker on it somehow, whatever. But it says that it's still going 20, 30 years later. It has not reached its end point of space going out. You notice that they didn't even think about going up. It's going, a rocket been traveling for 20 or 30 years outward. The most, and we read in Job 22 and 12, it says how high they are. God's in the high heaven. It's unfathomable how high the Most High is above us in space, in the third heaven, in paradise, right? Looking down upon us. That's why it says when he looks down upon us, we are like grasshoppers in his eyes. That's how infantile small we are, right? So let's go back, right? We're going back to Genesis. We're in Genesis chapter 1. We just left 2 Corinthians 12, talking about the third heaven, right? 2 Corinthians 1 and 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, where he stayed at. It's a division. Verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. So the waters that was under, which we consider space that we know of, right? Let it be gathered together. So it comes together. Put my hands here. It comes together, and inside of that, land comes out of that. So those elements were all gathered together at the same. Ain't no damn Big Bang. Puh! Crazy. So the Most High is gathering all these elements together gathering that water, all that stuff together. And inside of that, you've got hidden elements. And then he says, let the dry land appear. Here comes what you consider continents and all of that type stuff, right? It's coming up when this water has been congealed together in what we know as Earth, right? Or planet Earth. Okay. Yeah, verse 8. Verse 8 is not, it's the space. It's a space. Right? Verse 8 is the space. We got the third heavens, and then you got space where the Most High is dividing stuff. Right? Once we read on, you'll see. You'll see. Verse 10, and God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the water called he seas, and God saw it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit yielding seed, fruit yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. All right, verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. This is answering verse 8 for you. It's help clear up verse 8. Talking about the different heavens. It says, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. What are those lights that he's talking about? We're talking about the sun, the moon, and the stars. But he said, let them be in the heavens. The heavens, right? That's plural, right? Let's see. Let them be in the heaven to divide the day. So we got up in the heaven to divide the day from night. They're not actually inside of earth. The sun, although we see it, the moon, although we see it, it's not actually inside of the earth. It's out there. We can just see it. It's so large, right? It's in our what we consider solar system. We can see it, but it is considered the heaven. All right. Verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Right? Now we're going to read on. We'll read on. Get more clarification about the heavens. Right? Verse 20. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heaven. So the birds fly in heaven, in the heavens, right? Which is all of that. The skies, you got the heavens, then you've got out there in the solar system, different heavens, and then you got the Most High where he's at, the third heaven. So those are the different heavens that we've got. And then you've got the heaven of rulership and hell, right? We'll get into that as we go. But it's differentiating the difference of those things, okay? Because the birds don't fly out in space. They're flying in what we know as the sky. Okay. Verse 20 again, and God said that the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth with the waters, brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Right? Now let's hold our finger there and let's show you that inside of all of that, there was what we know as dinosaurs and things of that nature, right? This is how you know, what's that thing called, them daggone Nephilims, right? Them giants that they be talking about. 60 feet tall. Angels slept with women and made giant babies. You know, you ain't never seen none of them in a museum. Esau goes looking for sin, right? That's what the scriptures say. He digs deep for sin. He ain't never put none of them skeletons in a museum for nobody to see. Where they at? If they real, you put dinosaur bones into a daggone museum because you actually can find those. But you talking about angels slept with women and had 70-foot babies, but you ain't got none of their daggone skeletons in the museum. That's common sense would tell you that. But, you know, how people believe in whatever they want to believe. Let God be true and every man a liar. All right, so let's go. Let's talk about these dinosaurs, that every living creature and all of that, right? The winged fowl after his kind. God bless them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters and the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. Let's get that. Where we want to go to? Let's go Second Esdras. All right, let's go to Second Esdras, and we're going to read chapter 5 right here. Here we go. 6. We'll read Second Esdras, chapter 6. And we're going to start on at 47, right? Because that's where we was at. Verse 22, verse 23 ends. It says, in the evening and the morning were the 5th day. So let's see what was all created in that 5th day. Because we just read in a general foundation of it, but we're going to get the details of it. Second Esdras, chapter 6, verse 47, right? Upon the 5th day, thou saidst unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowl and fishes. And so it came to pass, for the dumb water and without life brought forth living things at the commandment of God, that all people might praise thy wondrous works. Letting you know with that, it was more than just Adam and Eve. With that, all people might praise thy wondrous works. Verse 49, then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures, the one thou callest Enoch, and the other Leviathan, right? The other Leviathan. It says here, and didst separate the one from the other. For the 7th part, namely where the water was gathered, might not hold them both. Unto Enoch thou gavest one part, which was dried up the 3rd day, which is what? That's called earth. That was the earth that was made, which is the dirt. That's what God considers the earth, right? Verse 51, Enoch thou gavest one part, which was dried up the 3rd day, that he should dwell in the same part wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan thou gavest the 7th part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt and when. So what do we have? We have sea creatures and you got dinosaurs. They're called Enoch and Leviathan in the Most High's eyes. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Where's the other one at? There's another precept here. Let's go to, I want to say, shoot from the hip, like Bishop be doing. Psalms. All right. Let's get it in Psalms. Complaint. Bear with me while I find it, y'all. Here. Okay, here we go. 63, 68. I ain't pulled that one in a while. Okay. Man, did eat angels meat. Oh, you from NASA. Don't you hate it when you know you can see it in your mind? You can't remember the number, but I can see it in my head. It's on my right hand side of the page. All right, here we go. Let's talk about this. Angels. Oh, that's another one right there. I like that. Maybe I'm thinking Job. Yeah, I'm thinking Job. Yeah. All right, let's get it in Job here. There we go. Job 41. That's what I was thinking. All right. Let's see. Job 41 and Psalms. Here's a precept for it. We'll do one at Job. Okay. Job 41 right here. I ain't gonna be too long on this one. We're gonna jump in and out. Job chapter 41, verse 1. No, Job 40:15. Let's go there. Job 40:15. See the different names that the Lord called them. Remember in Ezra he called it Enoch and Leviathan. Let's go to Job 40 and 15. We'll see the different names that he called Enoch. So Job 40:15, it says, behold, now behemoth. In Job he called it behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. So we read in Ezra he called it Enoch, but in the book of Job he calls the dinosaurs behemoth. Right? Verse 15 again. Behold, now behold, behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. So when verse 15, he eateth the grass, let you know, all the animals in the beginning, they was not a threat to us. Let's put it like that. They was not a threat. They wasn't even thinking about us as food, not at all. They ate the grass, and it will go back to that way. Get a precept for that in a second. Verse 16, lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong as a piece of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. So the Most High is letting you know the only people that could have destroyed dinosaurs was him. It would have been nobody else that would have been able to take them out. That's how great of a creature they was when he made them. All them, whatever, Tyrannosaurus Rex, the raptors, what are the names that we call them now? Whatever you want to call them. They wasn't out there attacking people, and they wasn't named what we call them today. Most High called him Behemoth. He called him Enoch. Those are the names of them, right? Jump over to 41 right now. So we're going to jump over to chapter 41. We're talking about the fifth day, what was made, along with many other wonderful things, but we're focusing on dinosaurs, right? Verse 41 says, canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook? With an hook. So let you know where Leviathan dwell at. He dwelled in the waters. That's why it says, can you draw him out with a hook? Or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with spears? So you read the whole thing of 41, and it talks about Leviathan, right? The creatures that the Most High created in the seas. So let's go back to Genesis here. Going back to Genesis, and we're in chapter 1. We're talking about the fifth day. Those that was made, things that were made on that fifth day, right? And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heaven. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. So also in that he was making sea creatures on that fifth day, right? Now, verse 24, and God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after his kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth was after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So there ain't no daggone, what you call that? No daggone reptiles came up out the daggone sea, started flailing around, and realized, oh, let's start walking after 2 million years. That stuff didn't happen. God is about order. He created it. Wherever you're supposed to be, you're going to be there. Just like ain't no human going up living in space, what we know as space, without no daggone space station or suit. You're done for. You're not meant to be there. Everything has its proper order with God. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to read verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So it says, and God said, let us make man in our image. That's plural. Let us. So what's going on? 1 Kings chapter 22. 1 Kings chapter 22. Let's see what that's talking about up here. Let's go on with the 1 Kings 22, and we're going to start at 19. Where we at? There we go. All right. So 1 Kings chapter 22, and verse 19 says here, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. All the host of heaven. And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab? The Most High, with the angels, he is having a council, deliberating with it, right? Now, just to give you the complete understanding of the Most High, he doesn't need anybody to tell him or give him a thought of anything. He already knows what he wants, but everything has a purpose, and the angels have a purpose. Let's go to that. Let's go to Hebrews. I was just reading that. What was it? Last night I was reading Hebrews. Yesterday was what? Thursday? That's my Disciple Thursdays for me. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 1. And we're gonna jump. We're going to chapter 1, verse 7. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 7. And of the angels he saith, who maketh his angels spirits and ministers a flame of fire? Verse 14. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? So the angels have their proper purpose also, that is to be ministers unto the Most High's children upon the earth. So we read about the Most High lets us in, gives us some insight of what goes on in the heavens between him and our ministering angels, those who take care of us in the shadows that we cannot see because we don't have that next level spiritual eye, right? We cannot see them, but they are always with us, watching over us, recording everything, speaking the thoughts of the Most High into our spirit, guiding us in the way that we should go, that the Most High wants us to take. So we read here 1 Kings 22, back in 22 and verse 19. And he said, hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and the other said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. So we read here about a council going on in the heavens between the angels on our behalf, which ended up being evil right here for God's purpose. But we read back in Genesis chapter 1, now we understand what's going on. Now, before we get there, go to Isaiah 40. I want to show you something that, you know, the Most High don't need. Ain't no contradictions in the Bible. This is here just to give us an insight on their purpose, because they're ministering angels. They take care of us. They do the Lord's will on how he wants our life to go. Go to Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 12. We'll start at verse 12. Who hath measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out heaven with the span? So that lets you know, going back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, where I said that's just the blueprint, the thought of the Most High. The Most High made the heavens and the earth. He already had it figured out in his head what he wanted, and then he gives us the play-by-play, day-by-day, how he created it, just so we can have some understanding of it. But it tells you he measured the waters and he measured out the heavens. That was already done before he even put it into effect. Right? This is precept in Proverbs too for them. Out in the heaven with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in measure. The dirt. The most, dang, that's power, man. I be reading, I be getting awed at the power of the Most High. It says he measured the dust. He knows how much dirt it is on the earth. He knows how much it weighs. How many particles, how many specks it is of dirt on the earth. You know how many specks of hair each individual on this earth has. Next level, man. It says, and weighed the mountains in a scale and the hills in a balance. How you know how heavy mountains are? How you know how heavy the hills are? Damn. Most High know though. That's infinite wisdom. Not even comprehended wisdom. What's that scripture? It was a scripture in Job, where the Most High, he asked Job, what he asked Job? He said, if I asked you 1,000 questions, you wouldn't get one right. Oh man. Oh man. Oh my God. That's me. Yeah, it's Job chapter 40. I ain't gonna read it though. All right, back to Isaiah 40, and now we're in verse 13. It says, who hath directed the Spirit of the Lord, or being his counselor, hath taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and showed to him the way of understanding? Isaiah's letting you know who is telling him what to do. But we just read where he's asking angels in the heavens, what do you think I should do? But you read in Isaiah, you're like, who told him? Who told him anything? It's like, oh man, it's kind of crazy. Here it is. Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9 and 10. Make sure you precept in this. All right. I'm precepting right now in my mind because I ain't never put these precepts together. But as I'm reading with you all, history in the PM, the afternoon, things are coming to my mind. So all praise. This is why it's good to study, man. Iron sharpen iron. Y'all are sharpening my sword right now. All praises, Israel. All right, so Isaiah 46 and 9, it says, remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. You know what that means? He got the angels up there just asking him questions just to entertain himself and just to give them a purpose. Like, I already know what I'm gonna do. I've been thought about this thing before I even made you angels. Damn, that's cold. That's cold-blooded, man. I'm just asking. I just want to see. I can just see. Remember, the scripture said he see the Most High sitting on the throne in 1 Kings 22, right? I just picture the Most High sitting on the throne, and he leaned, because we know the Most High black with that beautiful woolly hair, sitting up there with that bad garment, and his son beside him. So you know he got lean on him. So he's sitting back and he's asking, what y'all think I should do to the king down there in Ramoth Gilead? What y'all think? I want to hear y'all words. Go ahead and speak. Here comes this angel, here comes this angel, here comes that angel. It's all right. Anybody else? And here comes the angel. Hey, Lord, I be a lion spirit. Continue. Continue. You got my attention. That sounds about like where I was going. Go ahead. I'll be a lion spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. Go. That's what I was already thinking. I'm glad you're on the same page as me. Go do your business. Here it goes. So we read over here in Genesis 1:26. So the Most High already got the plan. He called the end from the beginning before he said, let there be light. Now he's just telling the angels. Verse 26. So now we're back in Genesis 1:26, right? And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. I already know what I want to do with him. I got it played out. I got it mapped out already. I'm gonna make a man named Adam. I'm gonna cause him to listen to his wife. They're gonna fall. And this is how, son, this is how you are going to go and get your glory and bring them back to me when they turn their wicked heart from me. Christ on his right hand saying, yes, sir, thy will be done. Man. Okay, Genesis 1:26. We're almost done here. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female. So a lot of people don't understand that when they get to talking about what's that, Cain, right? Going off and finding other people and all of that. Here's the verse that you take them to, right? Genesis 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. Who was that man that he made? That man was Adam. Right? Let's see what we got here about Adam. Right? Let's see. We'll get more into him too. You know what? I don't want to go with Adam. I'm gonna go somewhere else. So right here, so we got God created man in his own image. So now the Most High created man. Let's see what all is entailed in a man's life. Go to Sirach chapter 40. Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and verse 1. Right? This is all that's going in. When he created us, expect this to happen in your life. This is not, it's not fairy tale. It's not Westworld. I mean, I've watched that. Crazy. Westworld is crazy, man. Esau has a demonic mind. I tell you that much. Demonic. You notice that? You ever notice that, man? That Israel, Jake, we don't make scary movies like that. And when we do make scary movies, they spoofs. Who was it? The Wayans? When they make what was that stuff called? Scream. Scream, right? When they made Scream, we made a spoof of scary movies. That ain't in our spirit to make movies like that, man. Esau's demonic, making stuff like Westworld and daggone. Name some scary movies. Israel, while we on here, let's take a commercial break. Let's take a commercial break. Name some scary movies, man. I don't watch scary movies. You know, I don't too much watch them. Never really. Don't tickle my fancy. That ain't my type of movies. Scary House of a Thousand Corpses. Never heard. Okay, Insidious. I heard of Insidious. I haven't watched that. The Omen. I heard of that too. I haven't watched it. Hereditary. I think it just came out. Hereditary. Saw ain't no scary movie, Elijah. Saw is not scary. Saw's a thriller. H2O Halloween. Yeah. Evil Dead. 13 Ghosts. Never heard of that. The Conjuring. Heard of The Conjuring. Texas Chainsaw. Jason. Why y'all keep saying Saw? Saw's not scary. Annabelle. Okay. Bird Box was scary. What? Deborah? It was crazy though. It was crazy. Amir, you old, man. You showing your age. Freddy Cougar. You showing your age, man. The Purge is not scary. Lazarus Effect, I've never seen that. Cujo. Cujo was scary. I agree to that. Cujo got every Negro in the hood scared of dogs. Let a dog run up on the fence. You will jump straight on somebody's car. Night of the Demons. Yeah, that's old school. You Dream About Them. Yeah. Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street. Hellraiser. There you go. The Exorcist. That was scary. Now, all right, let's get back to it now, y'all. We back off our commercial break. All those movies were made by Esau. Demonic minds, man. That stuff ain't programmed in us. We ain't built like that. We got the spirit of the Most High. Them dudes got the spirit of the devil. Our movies are spoofs. Hell, even the movie we try to make, what was that movie? Vampire in Brooklyn. Eddie Murphy, come on. Come on, man. That wasn't even scary. It's comedy. We ain't got that kind of spirit. We don't do those things. So back to Sirach chapter 40. So God made man in his image, right? God made man in his image. And let's see what all entails in that. So we can live in reality, strengthen ourselves for this walk we have in the flesh. Sirach chapter 40, verse 1. Ecclesiasticus chapter 40, verse 1. It says, great travail is created for every man, and an heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam, from the day that they go out of their mother's womb to the day that they return to the mother of all things, the dust. Their imagination of things to come and the day of death trouble their thoughts and cause fear of heart. It does, you know. We all got to build up our faith to meet our maker, you know, build our spirit up to how Paul, where he was like, I'm ready to meet Christ, for it's better for me to be with him, but it's a necessity for me to be here with you. He was ready to go. A lot of us ain't there yet spiritually. So that thoughts of death trouble us, right? Every day. So that's why you gotta put in as much work, serve the Lord with all your heart, with all your might and all your soul, to make your calling and your election sure. Whenever that time might be. because that is the judgment. We shall die the death. We all pray. We be saying, oh, I pray the Lord come back and I get to see it. We don't know. We don't know. So those thoughts trouble us. Verse 3. From him that sitteth on the throne of glory unto him that is humbled in earth and ashes. From him that weareth purple and a crown, and unto him that is clothed with linen frock. Wrath and envy, trouble and unquietness, fear of death and anger and strife, and in the time of rest upon his bed, his night sleep do change his knowledge. Right? So those are things that go on inside of a man's, woman's life once we are made, once we are come out of the womb. So when God made Adam, let's go back. Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. We're back in Genesis 1:27, right? Adam didn't have those worries, but we have those now because of what Adam did. But Adam didn't have those. It was all good for him. All good. But now that is our plight. That is what the road we must travel in this flesh that we are in until we put on that eternal body, right? So back in Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So this is a separation. We've got Adam, him, he, him, and then we have all the other nations, which is the he, them, plural. So whenever somebody gets to talking about Adam was the only person, I don't believe that Bible, how Cain found a wife. That's because they don't understand God made Adam and then he made them, the other nations, right? We're almost done, a little bit more here. We're going to finish out chapter 1 for today. Go to Ezekiel, right, where it talks about the other nations, but in a different format. All right, we'll go back to Second Ezra 2, but Ezekiel. We want to go here to Ezekiel chapter 31, right? Yeah, Ezekiel chapter 31. Let's go here. Now, the Most High is going to talk about in a parable about Adam, okay? Genesis chapter 31, right? Now, it's referring to, you read the history of it, says Assyrian and all of that, but it's metaphorically speaking about Adam and all of those, right? And we'll explain that too when we read Genesis 2, chapter 2, chapter 3, and all that. It's make perfect sense, right? Genesis 31, verse 5. Ezekiel 31, verse 5. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters when he shot forth. Adam was tall. All the fowls of heaven made their nest in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. And under his shadow dwelt all great nations. Under his shadow dwelt all great nations. What does that mean? They all had to learn from Adam. He was Lord of everything. Adam was a God on earth. Verse 7, thus was he fair in his greatness, in the length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. The cedars in the garden of God could not hide him. This is after Adam had sinned, right? We'll come back to it. He couldn't hide. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God envied him. Those trees. Go to the book of Judges, so we can talk about those trees, right? What does that mean? Literally, what does God talk about when he says those trees? Let's see what I got here. Here we go. Judges chapter 9. Okay. time-wise. Judges chapter 9, and I'm a power read, okay? I'm a power read. I'm going to start at verse... man. I'm going to start at verse 1. All right? I'm a power read, though. And Abimelech, the son of Jerubbaal, went to Shechem unto his mother's brethren, and communed with them and with all the family of the house of his mother's father, saying, Speak, I pray you, in the ears of all the men of Shechem, whether it is better for you either that all the sons of Jerubbaal, which are 70 persons, reign over you, or that one reign over you. Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. And his mother's brethren spake of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words, and their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, He is our brother. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of his house of Baal Berith, wherewith Abimelech hired vain and light purses, which followed him. And he went unto his father's house at Orpah, and slew his brethren, the sons of Jerubbaal, and being 70 persons upon one stone. Notwithstanding, yet Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself. And all the men of Shechem gathered together, and all the house of Milo, and went out and made Abimelech king by the plain of the pillar that was in Shechem. So Abimelech was king, right? He was the one king. Verse 7, and when they told it to Jotham, he went and stood in the top of Mount Gerizim, and lifted up his voice, and cried, and said unto them, Hearken unto me, ye men of Shechem, that God may hearken unto you. The trees went forth on a time, now listen to this, the trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them. The king, remember, is Abimelech. And then he just said the trees went to anoint a king over him. Who's he referring to as trees as? Man. We're going to read on to clear it up. Verse 9. But the olive tree said unto them, Should I leave my fatness wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? And the trees said to the fig tree, Come thou and reign over us. But the fig tree said unto them, Should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said the trees unto the vine, Come thou and reign over us. What does that go back to? That goes back to verse 3. Let's read verse 3. And his mother's brethren spake of him in the ears of all the men of Shechem all these words, and their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, He is our brother. Going back to verse 12. Then said the trees unto the vine, Come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, Should I leave my wine which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then said all the trees unto the bramble, Come thou and reign over us. And the bramble said unto the trees, If in truth ye anoint me king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. We read that in Ezekiel, right? That all the trees, the nations, they dwelt under his shadow. Who's Adam at that time? All right. And the bramble said unto the trees, If ye anoint me king over us, then come and put your trust in my shadow. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now therefore, if ye have done truly and sincerely, in that ye have made Abimelech king, and if ye have dealt well with Jerubbaal, and his house, and have done unto him according to the deserving of his hands. Right? So who was the trees referring to? It's referring to man. Going back to, where's we left off at? 27. Right? We read Ezekiel, we precepted that about the trees, right? And then we went to Judges to show you that the trees referred to as man. So we back in 27. So God created man in his own image, and the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So all those other nations were to learn from Adam and dwell up under him, right? But they went their own way. We'll get into that later on. And God blessed them and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it with what? More righteous people as you were, as you are, right? Precept for that, Sirach 16. Ecclesiasticus 16, verse 1 and 2. A lot of people ask that question, replenish? How can he replenish if they was the only people? This is what he's talking about, right? Ecclesiasticus 16, 1 and 2. Desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord be with them. So when he's talking to Adam, make more righteous people as you are. Right? What I got here too? 15. Sirach 15, verse 12, just to add on to that. So jump up one chapter, 15, verse 12. It says here, say not thou, he hath caused me to err, for he hath no need of the sinful man. God don't need the sinful man to do none of his work. He don't need you at all. He don't have need for that at all. So he's telling Adam, I don't have need for sinful people. Replenish righteousness, right? Jump down to verse 20. He hath commanded no man to do wickedly, neither hath he given any man license to sin. So now we understand, going back to Genesis 1:28, it says, God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply with what? Righteous sons. Replenish the earth more and more with righteousness, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living creature, and every living thing that moveth upon the earth. That's how, when we talk about righteousness, this is specifically talking to Adam. Remember, let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 to prove that that's not talking to all mankind. It's talking to Adam. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and let's read verse 54. Okay? 2nd Ezra 6:54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. Adam was made Lord of all of God's creation. He was the ruler that had was given power to subdue it. Dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and every living thing that moveth upon the earth. That was Adam that had power over that. Not everybody. What happened? Sin. Therefore, precepted with this. Romans, right? Let's go to Romans. Let's show you. Adam and his descendants supposed to have the rulership over that thing. Not everybody that God made in the beginning. Romans chapter 8, and we are going to read verse 19 on down, okay? Romans chapter 8, verse 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. Why? Because we are the only people on the earth that know how to treat or govern the earth according to how God wants it to be governed. Right? Remember, God gave us laws according to when we went into the land, till the land 6 years. But on the 7th year, let it rest. So it can replenish, it can keep on fertilizing, neutralizing itself, giving you the abundance of what I created it to do. The Most High didn't tell all nations that. He didn't. Remember, the law was only given to us. So we are the only people that know how to genuinely take care of the earth how God wants it to be done. We're the only people that know how to treat the animals that are on the earth. Hey, just look at that. Just look at it. Esau goes and gets them lions from Africa, roaming in the Serengeti, ships them across the ocean, and puts them in a cage for his little runts and baby demons to look at the zoo. When it comes to Israel, we ain't bothering them damn animals. What do? You better keep on. Don't bother them. What'd you say? Don't bother them if it ain't bothering you. You better leave them alone. Let them be. Ain't that what your grandma used to tell you? Your daddy? Let them be. Don't be messing with them. That's how it is. It's supposed to be that way. Not with Esau. Okay, going back to Romans. I'm going to get sidetracked. Romans chapter 8 and verse 19 again. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same hope. Because the creature itself, we're going to read on that. That's twofold, talking about us and the creatures, right? Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. What's that bondage? It's what I just mentioned. Got that daggone giraffe running around in the dag. Man, we was in Cozumel and they got the daggone dolphins in prison. They got a wall. The ocean, the Gulf of Mexico is here on one side of the wall. The Gulf of Mexico, water as far as the eye can see. Here goes a wall, and on the other side of the wall, 4 foot of water, dolphins swimming with Esau on their back. And I told Captain Kabah, I said, dang, look at this, man. The daggone dolphins are in bondage. Their home is on the other side of the wall with the ocean as far as the water can see, and they are stuck having to ride Esau around on their back in the tourist. That is bondage, man. 3 feet of wall is separating them from their home, swimming freely for what God created them to do, but they are stuck swimming with damn Edomites on their back, on their fin. So they in bondage because of us. Verse 22, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. So going back to Genesis chapter 1 about that subduing all things, that is a commandment given to Adam and the sons of God, not the rest of the nations when he created them. I pray everybody understand that, okay? Verse 29, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So that's what we ate. We ate that in the beginning. We was all vegetarians, okay? That's not now. So stop you don't have to push that vegetarians. Now, I'm not saying do not take care of the temple that God has given you, but don't make it a doctrine, okay? Don't be looking down on people because they eat lamb for Passover. You vegetarian, you eating the lamb. You better check your spirit, you vegetarians. Talking to you. I'm a flexitarian. You don't know what that is. I'll fill you in. Sometimes I want to just eat meat, lamb, goat. Sometimes I only want to eat vegetables. I'm flexible. I'm a flexitarian. Esau ain't gonna box me in. Am I this? Am I vegan, or am I vegetarian, or am I a meat eater? You ain't boxing me in, Esau. Right? Flexitarian. All right, shout out, Vanessa. Flexitarians in the house. All right, so, well, back to that. You vegetarians eating lamb on Passover, you better not be eating that with bitterness in your mind. You better eat that thing and be happy, because that's the Lord's Passover, for what he done for us when we came out of Egypt. Eating them lamb like, oh, You better not be eating that lamb like that. Your mind ain't right. Your conscience is defiled. All right, so we're going back to 29, right? We was all vegetarians in the beginning. We not now. We know that, okay? It's not to be lit up and smoked either, all right? Because he said it is for meat, okay? And if you are one of those that want to try to find loopholes with God, oh, I'm going to put it in a brownie. No. Titus 2 says you must be sober. Young man, be sober. Okay. Verse 31. Last verse here. And God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. You know another way of saying very good? Perfect. Perfect. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Okay, so we'll stop right there. History in the afternoon with Captain Zakar. We'll end it on that. We'll pick up next Friday, Genesis chapter 2. We'll precept as we go along. And Lord, spare my life. He spare y'all life. We'll make it through this thing as much as the Lord gives me wisdom to teach his people, right? I'll pray for it, and you pray the Lord, give me the wisdom to teach you, okay? Before we go, if you ain't signed up for Passover yet, you're able to make it, go ahead and do that. One more announcement about Passover here real quick. One moment here. We just got it in the captain's group. Give me a moment. Bear with me, Israel. 1 second here. Okay, there we go. So all right, so we'll keep that in-house, okay? So your camp leader will be giving you that update about Passover, all right? So make sure you tune in this Sabbath. You've got what's this, Friday night? You've got Deacon Laba coming on at 8 or 8:30. I believe it's 8 o'clock. And then after that, you know it's time to get raw with Deacon ASAP. So go ahead and get your Sabbath prep out the way. Get ready to relax and be refreshed, because that's what the Sabbath is supposed to. We've been slaving all week. For those that do have the Sabbath off, we've been slaving all week for our oppressor, taking taxes out of our daggone money, unlawfully paying us every week or twice a week when the law says we're supposed to get paid. As the moment we clock out, I should have some money in my hand, you know, but we live in an unjust society and we are serving punishment. So where's it at? Let's get there real quick before we go about the Sabbath for you, right? Okay. Make sure you're preparing that before the sun goes down, right? Exodus 23 and verse 12, real quickly about this Sabbath. All right. Exodus 23 and 12. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the seventh day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. So let's bring in this Sabbath happy and holy, thanking the Most High that he allows us to see. I pray we all see it when the sun goes down, that we all make it there. And let's be refreshed, Israel. All right. So until next time we meet, Lord willing, spare my life, you spare yours too. History in the Afternoon with Captain Zakar. Signing off. Shalom.